outlaw, cooler than the West Coast. I'm a young gun looking for a smoke show. Quick to draw and I shoot to kill. Do it all for the thrill of it.
The combo, it hits again. Kevy, he's done it one more time.
The Chaos Storm! Claire jumps in with the Grand Slam! But in a three-man Moonfall, and it's just lights out for Direwolves, just like that.
The showstopper. Look at the backline. It's getting melted.
Something right now, Sonic Wave is there, it's getting lower and lower. Oh! They've stolen it! Mammoth forgot the Baron! He's gonna fall on down! It's just too much damage! Rest in peace!
LCO enjoyers unite because we got another day of games coming up here. It's a beautiful Tuesday, and when I say beautiful, I mean a very wet one because it is 40 bloody degrees outside here in my town of Sydney, and I don't really want to sweat that much longer. So fortunately, we've got a bunch of games to cool us off because it's going to be max chilling in Twitch chat. We got bangers. We got 4 big matches coming up today. But before we jump on into those, let's look back at yesterday and have a quick squeeze at that big old upset.
He streaks it around! Oh, this one thing was enough to shut that all important. He picks up here by Nemus. He dies. He falls on down. Byron's massive. He's got a triple. Oh, look at that. The one coming out once again. Menulog to try and turn things around. Chair has the ideal weapon set up to get these kills. They found 2 so far. Direwolves have done it, but they can't find any kills to capitalize with it. This Lee Sin is out of control. It's a boon though. He's on the angle as well. Is this just going to become a 50-50 flip? The Drake is held in suspension down to 2k. It's going to get reset. Out goes the fight. And both the Eddie carries explode into life. Raze gets a double. Now Tapoon finds the nutmeg. Death Rocker doesn't confirm a kill. The Baron is still there. It doesn't get stolen. Mayfon secures it. Mammoth at the Baron. Can they now win this team fight? Tron the Pump goes golden. 2 members low. Lots of AoE cleave goes out, but it is Jinx that gets the first kill. Corgi gets the second. So many shutdowns, but Jinx is dead. Voice finds it. He's still got a flash as well. Oh, and he gets a double. Can he get any more? He falls on down after securing.
Man, Twitter was going absolutely crazy after Mammoth's big old W yesterday over the top of PGG. PGG, on the other hand, not feeling it too much on Twitter from what I saw, but people that were feeling it were very much enjoying it, of course, with the casters having a great time. How are your throats today, gentlemen?
I tell you what, mine after that last game, I felt a little bit croaky for a second, and I got worried. I was like, have I lost my voice? But then after a while, it came back. Yeah, just watching about that final highlight, hey, it's crazy. What a game. At times, and I'm not sure if Rusty feels the same way, at times I forget to cast in my head. I'm just like, I want to enjoy it. And I end up just devolving into a shouting fest and having to consciously remember I can't swear too. So, yeah, that's a whole lot going on.
Look, you can swear like once a week, right, Rusty?
Yeah.
We have a quota, yeah. I was going to say, Skimmy, I don't forget because silence is very uncomfortable for me and I have to start talking. So I never forget to stop casting. It's a serious issue, though, because silence should exist sometimes, I think.
I agree. There's not too many silences coming through from the champs in this game, though, so maybe Riot, they could pick up a few more. Either way, let's have a look at the standings where all the teams currently are on the ladder, on the leaderboard after yesterday's crazy day of games. Peace and Chiefs at the top, undefeated. We still got a 4-way tie down in 4th there. Order solidifying that 3rd position with the 2-1. The only team on 2-1, which is interesting because I thought we'd have a few more after yesterday, but that was not the case, was it, Skimmy?
No, and looking at the ladder, usually we've said, you know, week 3, week 4, things start to take shape. I believe at the moment this top 3 are the best 3 teams in the league. The stats speak for themselves. I think the Chiefs outright are the best team right now, even though they are tied for 1st. And obviously those 2 aren't going to do battle until next week. But there is a chance with the schedule that we'll bring up in a second for some more upsets, actually, Mac, to happen here today. Down the bottom of the pack as well. Yeah. Gravitas still going to be searching for that first win. I know they have them in it. I know they have it in them. They've done it time and time again. But yeah, I'm feeling like the ladder is actually taking shape a little bit earlier than usual.
Yeah, it's still, I'm waiting for those 4th position teams to be separated. But of course, that will definitely happen as we do jump towards today's games. Speaking of today's games, we have some big ones in store for you guys. 6 p.m. kicking things off. Pentanet, they want a bit of redemption after that foul game yesterday. Dire Wolves, will they be put on the table and chopped up, or can they fight for themselves? 7 p.m. Chiefs and Kanga going head-to-head. Chiefs, of course, the super team, looked a little shaky yesterday, but ended up jumping back in the saddle and taking the W. Regardless, Kanga, we've loved what we've seen from them, so potential for an upset there. 8 p.m, Order and Peace. This is where things start to get spicy. Potential for game of the day, but then I'm looking at that last one as well. Potential for Gravitas to get their first win on the board, and also for Mammoth to maybe make it over to that 2-2 scoreline. Rusty, have you got much to say about these ones? Because before you did.
I mean, yeah, I think today is actually one of the best days we've had of the LCO so far, just by schedule, right? Mammoth against Gravitas, particularly what we saw yesterday with the marked improvements from, I would say, across the board, all 10 players that were on the Rift, does have me excited for seeing how these two teams clash. And like you highlight, Matt, Game 3 is going to be a big one. Both teams were ridiculous yesterday. Complete shutouts. Peace smashed Dire Wolves. Order smashed Kanga in almost a perfect game. So Game 3 is definitely the place that you have to look at for games to be excited about, no doubt.
Yeah, it's one of those positions, like today, it's essentially D-Day. We dubbed it Divorce Day because we've got a whole lot of ties all over the scoreboard, all over the leaderboard, and a few of those might finally be separated. So it's a great time for separation as long as all these teams play out of their minds, because who knows which way it's going to look at the end of the day. Skimmy, anything you want to touch on about these games today?
Yeah, I'm personally really excited for that final game because I feel like, historically speaking, Mammoth have actually had Gravitas' number. If you discount the OPL 2019, where they had the super team with Fudge and so on, it still actually has been Mammoth favoured. So,
yeah.
As the years have gone by in recent times, you've seen those crazy matchups take place with the non-traditional champions have come out. We've had those crazy scenarios where things like Nocturne Fiddle have debuted and found their success, and they sometimes divulge into fiestas, but they're so damn enjoyable. You're kind of like, what is this? But at the same time, you can't take your eyes off watching it all unfold.
Yeah, it's one of those things as well where, yes, there's some champs that a lot of these players play, but there are also some delicacies here in Australia where we don't usually get to see some of these. And Rusty, you've got some key picks that are pretty much those delicacies.
Yeah, we have a few champions to look at here, Mac. Now, we're going to kind of be beating a dead horse, repeating ourselves, whatever it is, with the mid lane champions in this 4-stack, LeBlanc and Victor. Victor was there, I think, in our second day of week 1. And one of the reasons for this is that we've not been seeing any Victor locally, but we've been seeing it everywhere else in the world. Last week, I was looking at the LPL, the LCK, so a lot of the Eastern teams and regions to see what their priorities were, and Victor was super high on that list. I now expanded my reach towards the Western regions, and Victor is still incredibly high priority in those regions, and we still haven't seen it in the LCO. And I look at Korea first because Oceania tends to copy Korea. Most regions tend to copy Korea, Mac, but for some reason, Victor's gone awry, and for me, looking at it, like, I think Victor has a winning matchup versus Corki early, scales late, but gets outranged. I just think there's a bit of extra pressure with picking the Victor over the Corki, and priorities seem to have shifted away from it towards more like Assassins and AD champions in mid as their response to the Corki. Instead, I would still like to see the Victor, though, because it makes draft just a bit easier, right? You have a staple mid laner. The other one here for me is LeBlanc. And she's first on the list because we've seen maybe one LeBlanc from the 3 days so far.
Kyose
right
on
now,
the first day, I think.
Yeah, it was Kyose the first day. I think it was into like a Vex or something. It wasn't like a particular matchup where it hard wins either. LeBlanc with a jungler, an AD jungler, wins 2v2. What more do you want in a draft, right? If you have a winning mid matchup and a winning 2v2 matchup, you win. It's like the amount of control that you have from that is jungle and mid, which is river control, which is side lane dives and threat and priority. I think you just have to be aggressive with it, right? Use the lead where you have the lead, and not a lot of teams are picking and playing this LeBlanc yet, and I really want to see more of it. Gwen, top lane, we are starting to see it. So I'm glad that we saw one yesterday. I think Gwen is something that we need to see more priority on as well for top lane champions. It feels like we're going for Vladimir instead, which is very weird because Gwen exists, right? And is impossible to play against if you're like a Caitlyn or a Jinx type champion, because you're long range, she stops range with her W. She's immune, by the way. It's ridiculous. So Gwen, I want to see more of. Jarvan's the one jungler out of the list of like the top 4, like the Lee Sins, the Xin Zhaos, and the Viegos. Jarvan's usually the 4th on that list that we haven't seen that I genuinely just expect to see more of. This couples with something like an Orianna mid lane. You know, there's so many good comps that work with it. We've seen it once, and I think that was just in like a mad Wombo comp.
Yeah.
But Jarvan as a standalone can work with control mage mid laners, and right now it seems the league has defaulted to Corki or Assassins, and I'm just expecting more from them with diversity. It's very one-track mind right now.
I think it's one of those things as well. Like with Victor, I think of Chaz because he played so much of that last year. However, he's not here anymore. So if we're looking for someone to be picking up that Victor mid, like who in particular in the league at the moment would we be looking for?
Tally for one.
Yeah.
Definitely Tally, because he's a Rise Victor type of player. Those are even top lane champions. Honestly, every mid laner should be able to play it. Like, maybe barring the exception of top laners that have transitioned, they might take some extra time. I don't think there's a reason that any mid laner right now shouldn't be able to play Victor. He's a bread and butter mid lane champion. By default, you probably can play it if you're currently playing mid. It's just that, yeah, everyone seems to have preferences in other directions.
It's weird. And like J4 as well, I feel like that's something I've even seen a lot internationally watching in other leagues. And it's a relatively simple champ, so maybe people are just leaning on things they're more comfortable with and things that work better with the champs that are being selected in these compositions. So I guess we'll see if that changes going through split number 1. But for now, I want to hear from the fans. You guys, I heard you're pretty good on the sticks. I heard you're pretty cracked, actually. And look, Skimmy, he loves a good ARAM or two. If you've got a Penta and an ARAM, I don't care. Send it in. We're looking at all your highlights. Please don't send in smurfing because we don't like smurfs around here. Rusty got smurfed on all week by some overseas gods, and he was having a bad time. So hopefully you guys can send in some highlights. And fortunately, I think a couple of people already have. So let's run the clip. It's your big man Steve with the first clip here, coming in clutch. Now, Skimmy, tell me what he's doing. Looks like he's playing a bit of Nid.
Well, he's landed the spear. He's an absolute sniper. American sniper, maybe even Australian sniper. It's a new Hollywood reboot here.
Who that Lee, though?
Wait.
Who that Lee, though?
Is he the caster? He's on my screen and he's talking in my ear. How's he multitasking?
We're multi-boxing right now.
He's played this game before. Great job, Rusty. I'm sure you were obviously focused on the things that matter, like
like
the
ending.
Game. Yeah,
not fountain camping.
Trying to get it out of the way. So you know what to do. You know how to get a dub. Steve maybe needs to work on a few things, but not the spears. He already knows how to throw those. Yeah. However, we do have a second clip as well. It seems like everyone's very keen to get those highlights in today. So let's have a look. This one is coming through from Creepix TC. So let's have a look at what he's got.
Oh, Carly's on a journey.
Oh no, you've absolutely played him.
Oh my lord.
Oh, beautiful.
That's actually really good.
Can you break down what's just gone? Did he TP back to the tower after getting marked?
Most people teleport to other lanes to gank, right? And the Carlys always have this mindset because the E follows the teleport of like, well, if he's going, I'm coming. Where we going? Let's gank.
Has he not just taken him on the biggest magical journey? Bard's in the bench. He's on the bench. This is the better play. I mean, this is just phenomenal. And this Akali must be screaming on. No.
This is one of those like league TikTok highlight packages.
It is. Yeah, it really is. Oh no, you've been played a fool.
Really good.
I'm stealing that one. It's
I don't
probably
know if
not
we'll
going to
top
work.
that today. That was really good.
Yeah.
I feel like Akali's at my rank would just not be that good to actually
They wouldn't hit the skill shot.
Hit the skill shot or hit it at the right time to follow across. So, interestingly enough, they were sick. I thought, sometimes we'll get highlights and they're a little bit, lackluster. I do, however, know that there's going to be a few more thrown up later on. I believe someone in chat scheduled one for 30 minutes to be exact. So hopefully that is going to be a banger clip because he spoke it up to me already and we might be able to get that on as long as it's good and he's not just pulling my leg. However, speaking of pulling legs, Pentanet, they were pulling our legs yesterday thinking that they were going to be top dog, and they have a couple of dogs to go up against in Direwolves today. So that's going to be the first matchup here. But let's speak Pentanet first. Skimmy, tell me, what do they need to improve on from yesterday? What do they need to lock down to make sure they don't suffer another loss today?
It was such a weird circumstance, right? Because it looked like they'd hit Exodia for themselves. They got all the picks that they were after. But in the matchups, just didn't seem to work in their favor. I think mid, we were critical of this Corki. How do you look to try and punish it? Well, at first it seemed a little bit passive, but once the ball got rolling, Re-Theory showed no signs of slowing down. I guess the one big question we kept asking throughout that game was they have a late game composition. This Corki and this Jinx, rather, can certainly hit the late game and become a menace to deal with. And that was what we're asking, right? How do they get to that point? And they kept the gold so even because they've got this expertise and understanding that they can run it late, sort of how to navigate it towards there. But, Mammoth just had the idea if we've got a snowball, we're going to push it forward. You don't need to split push. We can just literally ARAM and win in that fashion. So I think for them, I wouldn't make anything too drastic. Perhaps just a case of agency. Because it looked like they were a little bit scared in all 5 lanes.
I think, there was a few things that could definitely be improved on, and I'm actually interested to hear from them once we do get Kitty back in for the interview in a couple of minutes. But for now, let's talk Direwolves, of course, the other team in this first match of the day. They were looking pretty good yesterday, but still a few things not quite going right for them, Rusty. What do they need to do to take down Pentanet?
Yeah, look, they were against the big dogs in Peace, right? They went for like this crazy wombo combo composition, just full dive all the time. Yasuo, Rakan, Malphite, all of their eggs in one basket, right? Which is just press R buttons, and if it hits, it hits. And Peace really just had their measure styled on them and took them apart piece by piece. I hate that that's the only thing I could think of. But there was a couple of moments that you would say it was good from Direwolves, and really the issue that they ran into was how they followed up after the picks, right? So like this one in mid they went to, they then immediately tried to like force a Herald fight with no ults available, and it was just understanding limits, understanding when to disengage and when to actually call it as that was good, let's not do everything at once. And I think that inexperience that was in the Direwolves roster, as we know, just shone through a little bit too much yesterday, but still some promise.
Yeah, and let's see if that promise carries across into this matchup. I'm keen to see what they can do against Pentanet. The champ select, I feel like is going to be really spicy. I want to see a couple of crazy things coming through. I want to see something different just to try to catch them off guard, not just going and trying to outplay them, because Pentanet, they've got a lot of skill in all their roles. So I feel like Direwolves, they're going to have to try to pull something interesting to get the dub today, Skimmy.
Yeah, and I think they've had a really tough week, right? Because they've gone up against both of last year's champions. Peace last night, now up against Pentanet too. If you're thinking there's ever a time to try and upset the apple cart, perhaps Direwolves can, smell blood in the water, and they're thinking, we saw that VOD and we think, okay, maybe this is an angle for us to take. Maybe we need to draft something a little bit quirky ourselves. Speaking of that, I mean, literally, how much easier does it get than a full-on level 6 competition of last night, right? So I don't know if it's a conscious decision to say we believe this team is better, we're going to show them respect, so we need to play something different, or if it's just a case of we wanted to try and experiment and find our footing, because a lot of these players clearly have unique champion pools, and maybe it's the coaching decision to say, what do we want to do? Do we want to, prioritize playing split push? Do we want to go for early games, at late game, poke, siege, whatever it might be? I'm really curious to see what they come up with to try and take down Pentanet.
Well, something that they have come up with is content, because Direwolves, they love content. They were doing it all last year, and we got a little bit more for you to kick off the day.
Loading into the Rift here for the second game of the LCO, as we get to see some new faces in Direwolves and Gravitas showcase their might.
In the 1v1 mid, both junglers pretty casually farming.
Maybe Kyrie's not calculated it too kindly. The Ignite is there to flash away. Doesn't matter. Now it does.
And if necessary, going full smooth brain gaming.
Nice. Brings on the hook. One turret shot's going to come across. Bulldog picks up the kill, so shutdown as well.
No flash from the Nautilus make it.
I mean, Zen can be here. Zen is here, definitely. Wait for the blow.
Take one.
Yeah.
Slow.
Wait, so
Not Philios. Nice. No. Three.
Okay. Get no flash. Wasn't enough. Oh, beautiful.
Nice play.
Look at the Flater deny the getaway plan. Bulldog don't miss. Now, Juice is going to be careful here. Doesn't have flash. Up in about 15 seconds. Has he got the distort available? Chains go out. Looking to lock him in place. 5 time for Goodo. Out goes the kick. There it is. Crescent guard. Oh, not going to be what they need. Dajong was teasing at the idea of looking to try and jump in, but leaves his jungler to the wall.
Go on Vex, yeah? Vex we can turn, yeah.
ready?
I'm hopping.
Yeah.
One shot Nolus.
Fix.
Now to look for the pick target. Dajong has found Goodo in his sights, jumps in, flashes out, receives a sonic wave, and there's the kick. Spoon-fed Thomas Shen.
Nice.
His lady carry, he's gone. There's a double, and that is an ace. Really do what is required of anything aggressive. Much more the opposite. Wants to run away. Goodo instant flash, kick back into the lane.
Keep going. It's good.
Nice.
Can I get a kill?
No.
And they are giving us something of a spectacle. And at 31 minutes, Direwolves kickstart their season with a win.
GG. Very good.
Wait, you didn't W, bro?
Very good, guys. Clean game. GG.
Let's go.
Wolfpack. Ooh ha ha. I don't know, like a thing.
Ooh ha ha.
Yeah, ooh ha ha. Bloody Finding Nemo. Great bloody movie. Couple of woos in the chat. Please, thank you very much. Now, it was great to listen into the comms and listen into how much fun they had in that dub they got last week. But of course, there's a few more things we need to talk about, and it's Pentanet. So we need to see some consistency coming through from them into this matchup today. Because if they are looking a little bit shaky like they did yesterday, like they can't disrespect these teams that, you know, on paper are lower teams than them, because otherwise they're going to have all of these upsets happening.
Yeah.
Key case in point is yesterday, right, Skimmy?
Yeah, for sure. What was really weird for me is how quiet Balkan was. He's playing a Lee Sin, which we've asked the question, right? Are you a facilitator style player of Lee Sin, or are you a carry? And for him, it looked like he was just a safeguard. It was just a one-button Lee Sin, right? It felt really, really weird to say. And Rusty asked the question during the draft, right? What would Yuri be like on these AP majors? And, you know, laning phase, it just wasn't a pretty picture. Yes, in the end, he did 4 times the damage of the Trendemir, but where was it? You just really didn't see it. There were moments where perhaps they could have flipped it around Baron, around Elder, and they would have walked away, and probably both teams wouldn't be happy. But from what we saw in the prep coming into this one, this is a guy who's an absolute menace on things like Lucian, Varus, Zoe, Yone, Yasuo. He's just going to be a menace in lane, a full-on bully, rather than I'm AFK till level 12 or level 16. Talk to you soon, boys.
He had bulk cash as well. I'm pretty sure he had the most gold worth for a fair amount of time, even though he died like a whole lot as well. So he was keeping up in terms of levels, in terms of gold, but it just didn't translate into the W like we have seen with a lot of Corki as of late. But of course, let's talk Frost and Praedyth down in the bot lane. Head-to-head, both of these players, like Praedyth's got a lot of experience, and Frost is coming in, had his rookie year last year, and he turned a lot of heads, but this is where he really needs to lift, going up against the likes of Praedyth, right, Rusty?
Yeah, I mean, right now, if ever there was a time to strike as well, the iron's hot, right? You've got a Direwolves that have a lot of potential in their individuals. Frost is one of those players who, I think there was a couple of people that said look out for him, right? He's definitely highly regarded as an individual. He has the possibilities to make big plays. He's with Bulldog, who seems to clearly be a vocal player. Just based on what we've heard, a lot of personality comes out of him, and Frost just needs to be that quiet mechanics max god and kind of replicate things that we see from Praedyth, or saw from Praedyth last year in the LCO. So I would say definitely high hopes towards this lane, towards this player against Praedyth, but Praedyth also no slouch, still was able to farm up a Storm in his last game, even though it was the loss. Just that overall it was an impossible game for him to play.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's just the hand that you're dealt, right, as an AD carry. Trindamere walking around with that many kills, good luck.
Look,
So definitely some improvements need to be seen from Praedyth.
Impressed by those stats from Frost at the moment. They were looking way better than what Praedyth was running in terms of the numbers. Like, double the amount of damage to objectives. This man, he's just going for those macro plays. I think Praedyth, he's been trying to go for a lot more fighting, especially when they have been on the back foot. And he's also had a couple of rough ones where he's had to fall first in fights just to make sure Pentanet can come out as the big dogs. So he's had a rough start to the split, and I know that he's the kind of player that can definitely get back in, start to make things happen. After what we saw from him last year, he almost managed to get most kills in one game. I think Violet ended up overtaking it in split 2, right? Violet had like 17 kills in one game. Or was that Praedyth?
Praedyth had
Find out.
17. I think
There was
he
that
was
17
the
we got the
highest.
pentakill, right? That was up against Chiefs. I know he got the most kills completely out of anybody on LCO
I think
split 2
17
last
was
year.
the highest.
How many kills did he get last year? It was like 105. He's a big risk taker. That's what I believe, right? I feel like Praedyth is the kind of guy that will play the champions, that will go in. If I die first, doesn't matter. I've done enough, right? I've burnt cooldowns, I've burnt summoners, I've burnt time, and that's allowed the rest of my team to then kind of come in and clean up. And he's got a very similar roster, can certainly play that position again. So I feel like when you compare them side by side, Predator's certainly going to be that person that, you know, maybe a little bit cocky, maybe a little bit egotistical, but it works. He flips the coin, and most of the times it lands on heads, whereas Frost is much more, I would say, I don't want to disrespect him and say he's a KDA player, but he's very smart, very calculated in how Frost plays. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see if the man with the chaos has something to say, because I believe Kitty is back, and she has a couple of players down on the side lanes to say hello to. But first, what are you wearing? Tell us about that.
Hey guys, I'm wearing a traditional qipao to celebrate the Chinese New Year. So happy Chinese New Year's, everyone. And I've got Praedyth, obviously, you guys were just talking about him, on the side with Guro for the interview.
Hi.
Hey guys, Praedyth, how are you feeling on this hot day?
I got aircon in this room. I didn't really know it was cold. I mean, I knew that it was hot. It's pretty cold in here.
Yeah, well, lucky you. But let's talk about yesterday. So obviously you guys had a very rough loss against Mammoth. I'm afraid you will have to face your words. I could play top lane and we would still beat Mammoth. What do you have to say for yourself?
Did I say that? I guess I said that. I mean, I think it's kind of true. I think if I played top that game, I'd probably split push them to death. But I don't know. We're a top 8 team right now. We're kind of just that bad at the moment, or that good, depends how you look at it. It's that's how we should look at it. We're going to this game as the underdogs. Yeah, and all the people on Twitter, they're all right. We're just this week 2 loss has really got us in shambles. So I hope we live rent free in their heads forever.
It's like I believe that PGG can still turn it around. That being said, a lot of people place PGG very high in their power rankings before the split started. Is there still a chance to prove them right despite the rocky start?
No, it's fucked. We're done.
It's fine. You've used up one, you know, that's the only one you're allowed to use, okay, for the rest of the split. It's okay, Praedyth. It's no worries. Well, moving on to Guro, because he's waiting, he's smiling there. Okay, well, hello Guro. You guys locked in the Exodia comp, including the Malphite, Yasuo, Diana, Rakan, and still lost against Peace. How is the team recovering?
There was a good Exodia, but like, we just lost. It is what it is. But I think maybe it was a good media for our team for the like wombo combo, you know. At least we had like clip for the wombo combo. So I was like happy. Like at least we have a clip. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, most people dodge when they see that comp locked in and ranked, so it's worth to give it a try. But with that being said, you guys are going against PGG tonight. With their recent performance, how confident are you guys feeling heading into today's match?
Obviously, yeah, we are feeling very confident even though we lost yesterday. Like, everyone just getting confidence every single game. And obviously, they lost against the Mamas yesterday. And last year, I was in Mamas, so let's see who's gonna win today.
Well, best of luck, guys, and stay cool, stay hydrated, and thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
Marky Mark really is part of the Funky Bunch.
He's so
This
good.
man, he is a character. What an interview. Kitty, did you enjoy that one? It caught you off guard.
Honestly, I was caught off guard. I didn't know how to respond to that, but, you know, Praedyth, bad boy. Bad boy.
Yes, of course, fined. He's gone. Millions of dollars down the drain for Praedyth for dropping that F-bomb. Now, let's start to talk shop. So, I am a believer. I am a predictor. After that beautiful prediction I managed to, you know, think up and get right yesterday. Probably the only person, other than maybe the other 10 people that put Twitch points on it. Also get your predictions in quickly before the game starts, of course. But let's talk this one, because I'm thinking there could be a chance for Direwolves here. What about you, Skimmy?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, generally do. I feel like it would most likely start in that bottom lane if they want to try and get a steady hand. Otherwise, it's probably going to be mid-jungle. Mid-jungle, if you want that sort of explosive nature, I feel like mid-jungle can certainly carry the early game in terms of dictating the pace. What are we doing? We're going for crabs, we're going for heralds, we're doing drakes, we're split pushing, when we're trading. we taking plates, whatever that might be, anything to really fuel the fire to, you know, make Frost look as stable as he has been. So I feel like, yeah, Kiyose and Gudo in tandem together have shown that they've got the power. It's just going to be a case of they can find the right draft that allows them to, yeah, to try and bring the heat and, yeah, keep Valkar and Yuri a little bit nervous, really, I suppose, Max. But I have gone for Pentanet on the day. I do believe that they should be able to bounce back from that one. Maybe a few stern words of management and thinking, what on earth has gone on? Maybe a out-of-body experience of like, are we pissed? I don't know. Where do you go from here, Rusty?
I mean, I don't know if that's the way to approach it. In PGG's minds, they won't. I don't think they'll be too tilted. Like, you heard it from Prater. He understands how to take a hit, right, and keep just playing the same old League of Legends. So I don't think they're going to be too far in the deep end down there. In saying that they've been so shaky, like, you could probably call this game the battle of the leaky boats, right? Like, nothing's going perfect for either side. It's about who shows up better today. And I expect PGG to just go full solo queue today. Like, do what works, Diner, Tryndamere, just win your lanes, win game.
Okay, what about you, Kitty? Any thoughts on the matchup?
Well, I obviously voted PGG, it's shown below, but after that interview with Praetus, I'm kind of leaning towards Dials. He doesn't really sound too confident himself, but competitive is a battle of morale, so let's see who comes out on top.
Look, I'm sure that Big Mark can get the boys fired up and get them all right back in. Winterer as well. He had a bit of a shaky game yesterday. He's been a key piece for Pentanet in the previous week. Doing a whole lot of work, you know, a lot of eyes on him and a lot of pressure on his shoulders as well, with a lot of people touting him as like the next sort of up-and-coming top laner there. But we'll see if he's going to be able to do it again today. Of course, you know, Tron yesterday really managed to have his number, so it was a bit unfortunate. But look, we're not going to keep you guys waiting any longer. Champ Select is ready. It's Dire Wolves going up against Pentanet.
Fantastic, let's do it. Day number 2 here for the LCO, and a chance for a fresh beginning, you would have to say here, as Pentanet close out the night. They'll start off the day, and we'll see what that pick and ban phase may just look like. Caitlyn's still not going to get any chance to showcase, just a little bit too strong, and the Tryndamere banned away as well.
Yeah, I mean, Caitlyn is just a little bit too powerful. The Tryndamere being banned by PG, that's a statement. The Corky's on the cards for them. Just looking towards what Direwolves will choose to ban next does raise the question, do you just get rid of the Corky? Do you get rid of the Jinx, right? Because Jinx Caitlyn could be seen as a handshake lane.
Sure.
You could just get rid of another range AD carry, or you give Corky, you pick something that handles Corky, and you pick the Jinx for yourself and have the Jinx type comp. In saying that, Lulu's already been taken off the board. So there is a few things for the Direwolves to consider here.
We'll have to wait and see. I have got word from production though that the draft might be bugged, so we might just be sitting here infinitely. We're waiting. Are we moving? There's a fresh, it's locked in. We'll get word if that is confirmed. It's gone. It's all doomed. Back to us. Here we are.
Hey.
So, 3 bans. Do you know what I'm thinking? Just on a slight tangent whilst things do get resolved.
What are you thinking?
I would love to have more bans in this game. Maybe 6 bans, maybe even 7.
Who gets the extra bans?
I feel like you'd want them in the first portion. I feel like if you put them in the second half, it becomes so annoying because you've already at that stage kind of revealed what you're going towards. So I'd like maybe 4 at the start.
All right, I'll entertain the thought. Riot keeps releasing very strong champions. Very strong champions. So we need more bans. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Unless we balance all of those champions. And
well,
then
it'd be
I
nice,
think we're
right?
fine.
We'd see more unique champions, more unique picks, more styles, right? As opposed to, I mean, let's just look at a handful of champions we're playing. We'll bring back Mac into the conversation. In bot lane, we've only had 580 carries. There's not much going on down there. So, what do you think, Mac? I mean, we get, what, 5 apiece in solo queue. Do you feel like it's a 5 apiece in competitive angle?
I do like a 5-piece feed, and you can get one of those and use Menulog right now. Is that what you meant? Were you setting me up for like
That's a really good segue, bro. You're on the money.
Yeah, I thought that's what you meant. Yep.
They need to pay you more. You're too good at this.
You know when you play your ranked games, Mac, you get 5 bans at the start.
Oh, right, yeah. I always ban whatever is going to counter the champ I want to play.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think that these teams should do that, Skimmy?
Well, yes. I guess there's a lot more elegance to it. Otherwise, who would need coaches?
This is so good. I just need my play-by-play and host to keep talking analysis.
We can talk like this all day, bro. This is beauty. This is art.
I think it was a very good decision for that Thresh ban to come through. But now, this is where the mind games come in, right? Okay. That's what you were talking about. Are we going to see the exact same first 3 bans from both sides after this remake comes through? Or now that, you know, a couple of cards have been revealed, is it going to change up? I think, oh, damn. Well, I don't know. Are they allowed to change it? I don't even know what the ruling is on this.
I would imagine you can't change bans.
Okay.
Once they're locked in, unless, like, they'd gone past the mistake, if that makes sense. Like, if it was just a lobby bug and bans are in,
Yeah.
Surely that doesn't change. We'll just have the 6 that we had.
Yeah, gentleman's agreement. You know, just keep on rolling with the punches. How it's been going. Either way, yes, I am. I'm pretty unhappy not seeing Thresh. Every time we do see Thresh in a game, a lot of the time it's a lot of fun because you got the flay, you got the hooks coming through, and you just got a whole lot of setup, which makes that bot lane so much more dangerous and interesting. But obviously, if that's going to come through as a ban again, then we're not going to see that. What were the other bans as well for the blue side?
So, what do we have? We had Caitlyn, Tryndamere, Lulu. Yeah. So I think my question, right, and it's pretty much what you said, right, is it looks like a Corki angle. It has to be a Corki angle, surely, for Pentanet out the gates. But if they're going to give it away, then what will they take instead? But if they do lock it in, then you're thinking, okay, what is Kyose locking in? Is it just as simple as saying you're locking in Vex, you're locking in Twisted Fate? Well, maybe the Yasuo.
Got to remember, Udi yesterday in that coach interview did leak their strat of just first pick Corki and win.
It didn't age well though, did it?
They did also leak that they're preparing for next week, Max. So it could be that they still have the same strategy today. That's a great point, actually.
Yeah, it's their strat is get ready for Chiefs and, you know, just absolutely blitz Direwolves out of the server today. But on paper, Direwolves are a better team than Mammoth. So you still got to have that sort of seed of doubt in your head, like, okay, well, if this Corki set up, if their composition doesn't get played out as expected, then it could get dangerous. It could get very dangerous for Pentanet.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely it could. I mean, there's a lot of respect that needs to be paid by Pentanet.gg to every opponent, clearly, with what we've seen from them so far. And the thing that I wrote down, Mac, from my notes for Pentanet.gg is beat them while you can. Yeah, because that's what I think we're dealing with right now. There's a lot of growing pains. There is a lot of acclimation to multiple languages, play styles from different regions all kind of coming together. You know, Korean challenger players who've been playing in the CBLOL over in Brazil. And then you've got Rogue who's been over in the French League. So there could be a lot of clashing of personalities or ideas or concepts. So beat them while you can. Yeah. Definitely the way I see it.
That's a great statement to make. Now, I did get confirmation bans will remain the same. And I also got confirmation that the lobby's ready. So Champ Select's live again. Let's go. Take 2.
Take 2. We're running it back. Nothing ever happened. We never talked about, you know, the future of what League of Legends could look like. There is the Corki. Okay.
What a surprise.
So the Corki's locked in. No surprise there. It's just too good to pass up. It felt like an absolute bait to give it away, despite what happened last night. Direwolf's going to take the Jinx, as you said, and Guru is going to get that coveted Lee Sin one more time. And hurrah! We got the J4. The Zin's available, but the J4 priority.
Oh, it's good. So the funny thing about Jarvan with this comp, it works with a Corki package for sure, and like it's a lot easier to hit Rockers, obviously. Sure. It works when Thresh is banned and someone like Jinx is picked because she has no mobility by default, right? So it means that a carry is already at risk. You don't know what's going to be played mid, but if you've already taken the Corki, the handshake matchups often don't have high mobility, except for this one. So we get the LeBlanc. Kyose was the LeBlanc player. This has to have been a known quantity for PGG.
Yeah.
And this is not a winning mid matchup for them at all in the 2v2. Because the other main point that I wanted to make, Skimmy, is often if you're picking the Jarvan, you want setup mid laners or setup laners that actually enable the flag drag to hit. It's not always easy to just throw the flag drag out and connect the knockup. The LeBlanc is actually pretty good with it. This is why I keep saying LeBlanc, but I'm so glad that Direwolves have actually picked it. And now we've got the composition, you know, playing towards the Jinx already, but having a very strong 2v2 mid jungle.
We certainly got 2 of the picks that you were after to start off this day with, so that's always already pretty exciting for me at least. The Akshan has been denied. We've yet to see it. We've seen a whole bunch of it in the top lane primarily. I know at one stage, at least last year anyway, Kyose was spamming it in mid, but it feels like it's fallen out of favor there. Wondering what will Direwolves consider now, because I'm looking at Elise in LeBlanc, and it's kind of to my point, right? Surely that is the way to try and snowball a lead, punish early, and and try and replicate what we saw last night.
Yeah, absolutely. And having strong side lanes is definitely one of the things that PGG are looking for their bans here with 4-5. Zoranus clearly must be an Akshan player, and playing carry champions is going to be pretty important for him. Also, if I'm banning Akshan, it's usually because I'm playing either a 3-lane tank once again, or I'm playing a carry like a Fiora, right? That doesn't want to deal with a ranged, better version of you. So very curious to see what it is that PGG choose to do. The Ornn ban after the Akshan ban is very curious. And to me, it's just attacking Zoranus' champ. We'll see where he defaults, however, because he still has the counter pick. And we know, Skimmy, that Zoranus has played League of Legends for so long that he has got enough champions.
Oh, for sure. He's got plenty of champions in his back pocket. Ornn was his most played, but certainly can play a lot of the tanks, especially. That was what was so noticeable about his time in the OCS back in the Challenger Circuit a few years ago. We'll get to see. They're going to save that pick for last. They have locked in Bulldog's preference here. Leona Jinx, a lot of explosive burst damage if they can land on top of you.
Yeah.
And Rogue is going to try and dissuade that just a little bit with the Rakan.
I would say right now, Direwolves have a outstanding draft, right? They ban Nautilus, they ban one of the other hook champions, they pick Leona. So Thresh gone, Nautilus gone, Leona picked. One of your other options for engage kind of has to be Rakan. Leona has a winning matchup in a Rakan. So you've kind of set everything up. You see the Akshan ban, you see the Ornn ban. Gragas is the likely target here. And so you have the counter pick for that as well. So it seems like Direwolves, the red side drafting, has come up very nicely for them. And again, Graves is another very good staple top lane option or champion to be seen. And it's very easy to play towards with the LeBlanc having priority, and they have a strong 2v2.
He's been putting in so many hours on this champion. His most played in solo queue right now. There was a world in which I was wondering for just a second, was it a Poppy top angle? That is his pocket pick.
It's always a Poppy top angle.
Look, there's so many dashes that he could interrupt though.
But it is. That genuinely could be a Poppy top angle.
It looked a fraction viable for just a second, but the Graves is a bit better.
A little bit clean as a draft strategy there, but yes, they just want the damage. They want the damage. Leona is most of the setup for them when it comes to team fighting execution. This is your classic Bulldog may go 0-10 in a victory type of draft. But we'll see how they play it out, because you would say across the board, very strong lanes. Direwolves have got that win lane, win game mentality here through their draft, but their team fighting, their scaling, it's all solid. PGG, Jarvan with a Corki isn't insane. It can work. Like, Jarvan can always work, and a good Jarvan will always make it happen, but there's mobility everywhere except for the bottom lane of Direwolves, and that's where Jarvan's going to be most likely to be getting those kills on come skirmishes. Winter is just playing a safe, trying to survive type of top lane. We'll see if it's AP, we'll see if it's tank. Yuri on this Corki, he was struggling yesterday. And if ever there was a time to show that you can still play the Corki and not be 0-5, it's not a Tryndamere this time, but LeBlanc can still apply that pressure. If you first pick it for a reason, you're going to have to show up.
Big draft here for Pentsnet. So many engaged style champions. Really a perfect invitation for an Aphelios to pop off. You've got the setup, you've got the displacement, and you quite honestly have the protection as well. Direwolves a little bit squishier in comparison. As you said, Leona is going to be that sole major threat going in, but they have so much damage if they can get on top of you for just a second. It's going to be a big matchup here. Both these teams currently tied in 4th position. 1 win, 2 defeats. A potential chance to pull away from the pack and secure yourself that upper part of the ladder.
Yeah, big game for both of these teams. Definitely a lot on the line. For PGG, a bit of redemption, or they're just going to stay a top 8 team is the question.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Emote game is strong as we start off here in the mid lane. I do believe we have a coach on standby as well. So as we load ourselves into the very first game of the night, let's check in with the coach of Direwolves. It's Valexis. How are you, mate?
Yeah, pretty good. Yourself?
Yeah, doing very, very well. Good to talk to you as always. Hey, quick question as we jump into this one. You've seen, obviously, Pentsnet get defeated last night. So is there a key area that the team discussed as to where you can look to exploit?
Well, like I think many teams in the LCO this year, mid jungle is literally just like live or die by. I think that's where Pentsnet will either win the game from or simply lose the game, as we saw yesterday.
Yeah, and as we saw, you know, it was a very long stretch game. You're currently tied 1 and 2, so do you see a clear definition for how you can overcome this and look to challenge these teams that are finding themselves in I suppose, a weird situation?
Yeah, for sure. So our mid jungle is also very explosive, and when you have Lee Sin LeBlanc, like we definitely have the power to just control the complete early game, potentially threaten the solo by like 25 minutes. So hopefully our mid jungle can pop off this game.
Yeah, my point exactly. Fantastic. Well, it's a pleasure to talk to you as always, mate. We're going to crack on with the game, and I wish you boys the best of luck.
Cheers. Thank you.
Pretty straightforward stuff so far, Skimmy. Just looking at the way these junglers have passed, both starting from their red sides, moving to their respective blues. It's going to be a bit of cross-court jungling as bot does hit level 2 first, so they're just going to go for a cheeky how do you do, as Leona wants to. Leona always kind of has priority in this lane. It's almost impossible for a Rakan to engage, just to, small micro point on that matchup. Imagine you go forwards as the Rakan, you're just going to be stunned. So you can't actually dash back to your ally, especially not someone that isn't a Xayah with that extra range. You've got to be very particular in how you choose to play it out, often much more defensively minded.
Certainly come level 6 though. The anguish you can look to try and find with that ultimate and be an absolute menace coming out of the darkness could prove to be invaluable here. We'll have to wait and see how they can navigate this early game phase. As another stun comes out, there's the Glacial Augment coming into effect, down to 50%. Zap's there too. Here's the flag and drag topside though. Zaretta seems to be the recipient of the very first jungle gank off the game, so much so that he has to flash away.
Yeah, just
and that's
nailed
his
him.
first blood.
Yeah, clean. I mean, Balkan gets to the bush before Zaronis walks in. And unfortunately for that Graves, melee range, and not the place you want to be against a red buff Jarvan. And well played from Balkan. And it was the flash used, though it may have not looked like it, as what secures the kill there for the jungler of PGG. Fantastic start for him, honestly. Exactly what he needs, because this Jarvan is now an issue.
It certainly is. I love playing Jarvan in these early games where you go for that classic level 3 gank. It feels like at times it shouldn't work, but it just does. And it just gets you in such a solid position.
Just a quick check-in on the wave from PGG, though. It is pushing, so clearing that tri-bush could have been really bad for Zaronis if it was stuck in a freeze. But it does mean that he's got enough information to say that he's fine to play safe, play passively, and not be like my solo queue top laner and just run in and die to the ganking tri-bush. It will be perfectly fine. It is just a nice kill and a teleport force. That is the biggest victory, I would say, above all else, Skimmy.
Might be a bit of a passive state of affairs now top side, but it won't be.
Thumbs used.
Down here bot lane. Bulldog's just gone before Gudo can arrive. Now it's going to be a 2v2. It could have been a 3v2. Rogue jumps across. He's going to die. So it's a 1-for-1 now. Both supports are gone. Here comes Balkan. Instant flash away there from Gudo. But another Gravitum lined up and the snipe from afar. He's now 2-0. This J4 was a problem. Now he's a menace.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Okay, that's a bit much. Really pushing his limits there with a health trade, but will be perfectly fine. Will get out with his life intact. Giving 150 gold shutdown the second you get it would not have been ideal league. But we'll watch this trade down in bottom lane again, because it's actually PGG that go forwards. And Bulldog overexerts himself. It's not an Aftershock Leona, it is the Glacial, but Gudo was nearby, which is perhaps why he does that. And, if there was no Balkan here, that is still an okay trade given the wave state. But Balkan is here. He just resets after clearing that top tri-bush straight towards bottom. He's able to make the play and get there in time. Good stuff once again from the jungler of PGG. Doing it all himself.
Almost like it took last night's game personally, that I am the early game king. I will have an impact. Here's the champion that can certainly allow that to be a talking point. 2-0, could have been 3-0, might have sacrificed for it. But I'm certainly hungry for it. I'm curious now sort of what build he actually goes for, because, conventionally we've seen the Gore drink in a much more tanky variation. I'd imagine he'd probably stick to that, but the one thing that sticks out to me of Pensnet 2021 was the lethality Parbu Eclipse. Maybe not the case here, but there's a small hope.
I don't think with the Phage and the Ruby Crystal already locked in that he'd even consider it, but it certainly is a PGG thing to have a carry jungler no matter what. 2-0 is going to be pretty fast, pretty accelerated rather, pretty fast with his item completion timings. He's walking back top lane, will be spotted. but really you can see that he's commanding respect wherever he goes. And it is still Direwolves taking some initiative where they can. So if we consider that by composition, Direwolves should have a lot of strength in their 2v2, you're expecting to see LeBlanc be more active around the map with the Lee Sin. But because everything's happening in side lanes and mid hasn't been involved, it perhaps just isn't that simple for Direwolves who have found themselves a little bit stuck. And Zoranus, he needs to hit 6 off this wave or he could be in big trouble.
He's so punished right now. The cast instantly goes. He's just dead, Rusty. He is just gone. The easiest turret aggro tanking you'll ever see. Winter are paying respect to last year as well. And this top lane, it feels doomed already.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that he's only 6 CS down, but it does still feel so doomed. It's the Gragas that Kyosei.
Oh, no. How angry is Balkan right now? He is literally everywhere. Nightmare fuel.
Yeah, this is the terror that took my LP, Skimmy. This is definitely a different breed of jungler to what we saw yesterday on the passive Lee Sin. He's still going.
He's still going in. 1v2. The mid lane has gone away. Yuri says you can do it all on your own, can't you? Does he have the smite? Can he steal it? He's got the red buff. And he gets out scot-free. Here comes Rogue on the rotate. A little bit too much to dive, at least at 7 minutes. But they're sending a statement.
Yeah, I mean, there was a world Balkan dies there. The flash was good. The timing on the Lee Sin Q just unfortunately was slightly off for Gudo. Kyosei, perhaps they thought he was going to be reset, which is why Balkan goes for the play. But look, he hits the smite. He makes the play. He gets out. Just absolute bandit here running the Direwolves ragged. It has been absolutely a jungle clinic from Balkan in a very solo queue way, to be fair, but it's wildly successful. Also, I won't lie, Skimmy, if you think back to that bottom lane skirmish that he was a part of, if I recall correctly, he very intentionally let Praedyth hit the snipe Q before he auto-attacked to secure the kill for himself. No word of a lie.
Well, it's what you wanted. It's what you asked for. Give us a solo queue style game. Just pub stomp, really. And it's certainly what they're doing. Rogue jumps in, flash initiate. Here comes Balkan again. It's a 3v2. Gudo is in the area, but will he be here in time? Bulldog flashing away to try and get to his jungler. He doesn't want to reveal himself just yet. They have no vision. They don't know. They're still chasing. In they go. There's the Cataclysm. And in comes the Lee Sin. It's too late. Leona's dead. Kyosei on the hunt. Yuri is not joining them. Bear that in mind. He's sitting in mid lane, distracted by a wave. It will be a 1-for-1 trade, though, as Frost picks up another kill. But finally, Balkan dies. It's a bounty that goes across. 700 gold picked up here.
That fight was so unnecessary for PGG, to be perfectly honest with you. There was a gore drinker and some change in base for Balkan, right? Like, he definitely had the possibility of just trying to sneak the Leona, get out, but the collapse from Direwolves was pretty good, right? So, first of all, Frost holds his flash through all this, uses heal. That's really important against the Jarvan. If you flash, you just die there. So he holds it. Bulldog plays Zone D, tries to just distract them. There's a world that Gudo goes straight for the Aphelios here. I actually would have preferred that, I think. Accept reality, the Bulldog was dead, go onto the carry. But he'll still get the flash kick. They'll still find Praedyth with an ult from Frost. And at this point, Balkan just has to try and fight his way out. He does well to get one, but Frost gets a second kill, gets a shutdown from that kill as well. I think that was like a 600 in the pocket. He's 3-0 with a 150 shutdown himself. So this has now become a battle on two different fronts, Skimmy. And Frost still has flash, so Jarvan cannot one-hit him yet.
This is the area I was getting excited for. I believe in the power of Frost. The man is a phenomenal AD carry. We got word from producer that Frost actually just picked up a whole 1,000 gold himself from that. Pensnet do still have the lead. 10 minutes in here. But they've now got to deal with a very scary Jinx. It's going to be a battle between two different carries in very different ways.
For us to be a couple of hundred gold off, he's completed a full mythic item as well. So making the play right now, just prior to that item purchase, nice kick.
Here they go. Sonic Wave comes out. It's an execution. It's as easy as you like. Bulldog, it's another death. But he won't mind it because he is spoon-feeding the gold in all the right places.
Yeah, so not max damage, but max mechanics you'll get from Direwolves. Package going to be used on the top side with the Herald. It's a race for the first turret of the game, and it is the side of PGG that wins, just barely, I will say, by the smallest of margins. It is still Frost that gets himself another assist, gets the turret plates. He's going to go back to base, spend all that money. The only tragedy is that it was Bulldog that actually picked that one up, not Gudo or Frost in the end.
Gale Force complete. That's a very early mythic. So as that flash, as you say. Second Drake of the game will be up very shortly. That seems to be the game plan, at least from what Velixis mentioned to us. They've already got the first, so an early soul point certainly could be on the cards around that 20-25 minute mark. The PGG deploy to the area first, and Frost is on a mission top side. I've got an item. Let's just get more turret plates.
Yeah, I think they're pretty happy to give away a second Drake. They've already got the first one. And if they're not set up on the map, and they weren't, right, just because of tempo, reset timings, and where they got everywhere, they also chose to deploy to the opposite side of the map. So it could just be that we get a battle of money trade overall, right? Get Jinx towards 2 items as fast as possible. And just nightmare fuel for PGG staring down a Jinx with that many items. But look at this turret just melt, Skimmy. There's no way you can compete with an Aphelios for turret taking solo.
It's better than a Herald. It really is. All the Chakrams, full on energy, and he's just taking down 3 plates. Nearly 4.
They're going to dive with no minions? No. Okay, you don't know. Honestly, Balcard is just... he's such a weapon this game that anything's possible. He's still going.
He's still going. He's proxied the wave, and he makes Serenas absolutely hate playing League of Legends right there. Forced to disengage away with the ultimate.
Catch him at the inhibitor turret, still fighting Zoranus in 30 seconds the way he's currently playing. You just never bloody know with him. Dial's on the other side of the map, still a plate away from breaking the full top turret. They are very behind just in terms of map tempo. Clean stuff from PGG in that respect. Still, I would say the gold difference only being 2,000 is still a pretty positive thing, as we're just seeing actually very insane stats from Gudo on Lee Sin for his last game. He was the hyper carry if memory serves, though. He was trading off Kyose's kills.
I think that was their opening game up against Gravitas.
Yeah.
And yeah, they did play this mid lane matchup, or mid jungle, I should say. Got his work cut out for him, though, today.
Okan definitely going to be taking blue buffs until 30 minutes. Popping those vibes from the jungler of PGG this game. He's here to win. By himself if he has to. Kratos actually getting to set up mid lane pretty important for the side of PGG because it means that Rogue can work with Balkan around the map once they start to deploy to the same side, of course. Till such a point it is just going to be Frost and Praetor duking it out. Outer turret still standing in top is an avenue for Direwolves to attack, however, if they play topside vision control, and there's no Drake for 2 minutes and 30 seconds, so certainly possible that's where they're going to put most of their resources. That does mean, however, Zoranus just left to the Wolves, ironically to him.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward for him to actually play a lane right now. He can't go mids, and if he has to try and deal with this Corki, he's not going to have much fun there either. In goes the Solar Flare. A Gale Force cancels that one out completely. There's a pick, a potential. They won't catch Praetor today.
Yeah, so, I mean, frankly, we're at a point where I think this is where PGG want to be. Barring Winterer right now, who's obviously copping a beating, we've had Corki sitting pretty content in a side lane because Graves can't kill him, right? If you send LeBlanc to that lane, he's already built the Hex Drinker to deal with it. So Yuri's in a game where he will actually go to level 16 and get those items. That's to be expected. The Hex Drinker does delay the spikes, but it's inevitable.
Here they go. Gudo thinks he has the jump. In fact, he's actually going to get collapsed on. Out comes the quickness, locked in place by a charm. A Cataclysm, a flash, but you're still dead. PGG being a little bit more proactive.
I'd have to watch that back, but I think it was maybe a sweeper that reveals where Gudo's standing, because it does look like it was a blind flag drag. Frost just gets smashed by the rockets. Damage of Corki. It means the mid push is on, and a flank's already there right now for Rogue in mid. Oh, there is a ward there. Yeah, thank you. We're looking at a dive mid. I'm being sassed.
They're smurfing on us. There's the information if you need it. Zoranus is just going to look to get some free farm, which he so sorely desires. He needs it. Manages to crash a big wave in. They've claimed a bot turret as well. As we buy time for the next set of objectives.
As you can see on the gold skim, it is basically one man against the world right now. Praetor's keeping up pretty nicely, however, in gold value. It's just going to be quite a large Jinx to deal with. 2 items on the board. Ready for the next fight that will be taking place at the Drake, if that's where Dials want to prioritize. That was, as you mentioned, the coach's call. That's where you'd expect them to actually posture and set up. However, Yuri has a package currently, is also currently level 11, and you can see those rockets beginning to add up.
Only going to get worse. Got the stopwatch, so if you can find a package, you can definitely look to try and be pretty aggressive with it. Out comes the Heralds. PGG looking for the 3rd turret of the game. In jumps Rogue. Seeing with the ultimate if he could charm and lock in place anybody of interest.
Look at Gudo though. Man's joined the enemy team and has been there for a minute. I mean, the fact that Dials weathered that engage mid was fantastic. The package is just about to go now, I think. He has to use it, yep.
Have they taken too long? Oh,
look at
Gudo. I believe that was 61 health. In goes Gudo. Kick onto Yuri. He has that stopwatch. Bear in mind, Valkyrie away. Gets a shield from the Rakana as well. In comes the explosive damage of the Graves. He's too cool, calm, collected, but he can't hit that stopwatch. The fight continues. PGG currently winning it. Cataclysm onto 1. Onto Kyosei, flashing away, but I won't save him today. Double kill for the Aphelios. Trying to match the power of this Jinx. And there's the flag and drag to claim 1 big bounty. J4 is the carry, but the AD carry, it's the Aphelios special. It's Praetor with the ace.
Yeah, clean stuff from PGG, basically across the board there through that team fight. They hit the execution, and that was with Dials attempting to make the play. You can see Kyosei is the only one that actually gets to the play with Gudo. The rest of the team don't really have that opportunity. Jinx ult honestly wasted for the steal attempt. I think it's really clear that Gudo and Kyosei are playing for a flank. They're playing for the engage after the Drake. I think that's actually quite obvious. And you want the Jinx ult for this skirmish, right? And you watch how much health Winterer has. That's a Jinx ult angle. That's a reset for him. That means you don't have to use flash here. That means they can't kill you. So little things like that are just a little bit tragic for the side of Direwolves. I mean, the steal attempt was okay in theory, but I think if you're going to throw it, you don't go for the fight afterwards. But look, well played by PGG as a whole.
So it was well played. It was so close though. I believe it was 61 health that I saw on that Drake. It's as close as it comes. We have seen closer, obviously, but you take those risks, and unfortunately for them, could not get excited. Doesn't have the Phantom Dancer, has gone for the Rapid Fire Cannon instead, wants the range, but needs the movement speed too. And just like that, 19 minutes in, PGG look to put a little bit of a comfort on this gold lead, up by 5k now.
Damn, there's some space on Kyosei's camera, isn't there?
It certainly is.
It's got more headspace than a mental health app.
Oh no.
Kyosei.
Cheeky bit of the stall. In goes to Zenith Blade. Nicely buffered. Volkan just slides really out of that one.
It is quite hard to catch the LeBlanc, and similar thing to be said for the Jarvan and how they disengage. Direwolves are trying to posture on the Baron side of the map because that really is just the one objective standing. Frost no flash, remember, into a Jarvan, into a Rakan. Particularly Rogue having that flash himself. Engage angles are always going to be present. The Direwolves have to be super vigilant in how they play. Because it is not just, yeah, look, here he goes.
Here we go. Jumps in, locks them all in place. There's the charm, and it's an instant double kill for the AD carry here. Volkan will fall on down. He's run out of sustain. But they've done the damage. They've taken out 3. They've taken out a tier 2 mid. They're working their way towards an inhibitor as well. They have no minion wave, so it's a little bit awkward. They'll have to wait for the next one, but the respawn time is long enough that this should be no problem whatsoever.
Yeah, this mid lane push is just going to happen. There's really no stopping the snowball that you've been seeing for PGG. This is absolutely some angry gaming. Zoranus going to have a 1v1. Red-blue weapons are exceptional. White-red weapons even better.
Oh no, it's the Praetor special. He's going for the hero play. We told you, he's a bit of a risk taker. Can he do it? No. He falls on down, gives us a smile in the cam, and Zoranus says, I'll take that shutdown. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was 1,000 as well, wasn't it? We'll see this fight first. I mean, Frost no flash, we highlight that. Gale Force not going to actually get you out of that, unfortunately, for the timing of him. I think it's possible to Gale Force out, but you have to do it super early. and be like at the maximum distance by that point. And then Kyosei just barely scrapes away. Praetor feeling generous, gives over 1,000 gold just casually, taking the 1v2. He definitely wins the 1v1, I'll say that much. But they brought a Kyosei for a reason, right?
Certainly did. Things a little bit interesting now. Will the split push be available? Will it be viable here for Direwolves, or will they be forced to answer the call, which is PGG taking down every structure that this map has to offer? And saying there's another Drake in 30 seconds. If we don't go for this, we'll go for Baron instead. That goes to quickness. Rogue once again on the hunt for a key target. Only lands a charm on towards Goodo. There's two-man Cataclysm. Here's Winter on a deep flank, looking for the flash body slam. Surely there it is. Onto one key target. Knocks Frost into the waiting arms of Aphelios. There's the triple kill. He can end, he can grief, but he can damn well play AD carry.
You definitely can. I mean, huge stuff here once again from PGG. There was about 5 seconds left on the flash timer from Jinx when that fight started. So you could see the apprehension from Frost to do consistent damage. Bulldog's been caught.
That is a lot of damage. Yuri will finish it, and that will mean a Baron is there for the taking.
Unless Kyosei pulls off a miracle, and he has got a ward in the pit. May try and double distort.
Does he go for this? It would be the most heroic play. They're going to hold the Baron down to 1500. He's just gone.
Jinx ult for good measure. Too many goalkeepers there. No opportunity. Zoranus, as the observers are highlighting, could have teleported, but he's going to go for the Drake. I will see this fight again. Frost has, I think, flash at the moment that Gragas comes into the fight. The Jarvan ultimate was used. The kick was for disengage. He flashes now. There's a chance he survives and does damage, but I don't think the team fight was ever going to go their way, right? Praetor, red, white, don't fight. That's the call.
Certainly is the call, and we're back to live, back to the action, and back to where this fiesta continues. Soliflay gets flashed out of, Balkan slicks it up, has the Sterix and a Gore Drinker, not the target you want. He'll turn that engage right around, back on your head, and pick it up for free. Split push attempts as Kyosei has to deal with the top side, but the fight continues down here. Balkan once again! Just cataclysms on top of your head, picks up a double for his name, and it's now becoming a bit of a race as to who can get more kills.
Yeah, it's definitely turning into a bit of a competition to see who can get more of them. You're right, they're just going to push mid lane with Winter trying to really break those inhibitors. Bot lane, you know, they get that skirmish, they'll get the bot lane in a turret as well. And it is just going to be a case of reset, get all your weapons, get all your item upgrades, cycle those if you're Praetor, because he's definitely out of control in this one. Luden's finally online here for Yuri as well. There's a very different corki that we've seen between days from PGG as well on an individual level. Direwolves really expected more from the 2v2 in the mid and the jungle, but all we saw was an absolute jungle clinic from Balkan. Just walks in, disrespects you, takes everything from you, and you're just left dealing with the aftermath. That is the summary of Goodo's experience.
The one thing just I can't get out of my mind is the fact that he walks into the red buff here.
Oh, it was so illegal.
1v2. 1v2. Yuri's like, you've got that right, and he just walks out.
That red 1v2 against LeBlanc Lee Sin was incredibly illegal, but Illicity got away with it. Perhaps it was a grey area in legality when it's Balkan doing it.
Bit of a humbling game though for Goodo, I tell you that much. 0-6. Not the scoreline he would have been hoping for. Sort of stats earlier in the game. He is phenomenal at this character.
There's just so many flanks, but are any of them an angle, you know?
Yeah. Ooh. Here we go once. Oh wow, Kyoshi's just gone. I stuttered and he's dead. Same could be said though for Praetor. Another shutdown is also Zoranus that gets it back-to-back. Shutdowns galore coming across onto your screen, but PGG Balkan, he's the one you just can't get out of your mind because he's got 10 to his name now. Now he's got 11, tied with the AD carry, and it really is becoming that competition.
Oh, Zoranus.
He's proxying away, but where is he going?
Nowhere good. He's currently at the enemy blue buff. Balkan just going to continue to chase him. W hits, it's definitely on. And this is a huge Jarvan now in your face. Oh yeah, he's just done. It's just sad. That's how you know it's solo queue, by the way. That could have been a mid inhibitor taken, but why do that when you've got a Graves that's just staring you down?
Of course.
You don't need minions to break that inhibitor. But here we are. We'll see the fight again. I mean, this is just Kyosei diff, right? flashes over the wall instead of using a distort so that he could double distort combo. The kick from Gudo is great. The Frosts, I mean, frankly speaking, it's almost impossible to do, but he can't auto-space the Jarvan. He cannot be a rocket Jinx at max range and survive. Belkan will actually just casually walk over to his face, press R, and knows there's no flash, and that will always be a kill. Impossible to play, honestly, for Frost now.
Yeah, it really does feel like that. So many threats coming towards these AD carries that are incredibly fed, but aren't really having the funnest time being able to really unlock that, I suppose is the word I'm looking for. Mid inhibitor is the target. That's what's taunting him. They've managed to take it down to 50% so far. Big bot wave has also been primed here by the Corki, so now Yuri's going to join the team to make it that 4-5v5. Perhaps going to get caught on the rotate as Kyosei jumps on in, but there's a two-man knock-up. There's the Moonlight Vigil that instantly gets... That's a Quadra! That's the first Quadra kill of this year! Where did that come from? 200 years!
Praetor wants the Penta so desperately. He's popped the sad B, Kyosei. Gives him the thumb up, and he's going to distort away. He's going to play him for a full. Hey, the rest of PGG ended the game. You're on a clock, Praetor.
Give him the Penta!
That was the fake.
Give him the Penta, please!
He's not going to get it.
Oh, no, it's run out. The time
They're picking back from the Nexus to give him time. They've stopped hitting.
The game's going to end because Praetor couldn't get the Penta, but I tell you what, PGG will get a much-needed win.
It may not be the Penta, but it was still a clean victory for them in the end. 100% a massive jungle performance from Belkan. It's hard to look past him, but you can still get... Yeah, top lane was real tough this game, wasn't it?
Oh, you can't hate Winter. He's such a good personality, isn't he? That was such an enjoyable game to watch.
I think Rogue said he had a celebration ready but never got an opportunity to use it. We didn't see Rogue at all in that post-game. I think we just saw Winterer, right? Like,
yeah.
Winter has got the trump card ready to go, falling asleep at the wheel. I mean, that's a Gragas life for you, right?
I suppose it is. I mean, he gave us a little bit of everything, right? He went for the AP runes, but for the tank items, he certainly just wanted to fulfill a job, and that was, I will body slam, I will take out the threat, and I will let you guys pop off. And PGG certainly did pop off, didn't they, Mac?
Yeah, did. They had a great game today, and look, Praetor definitely did his talking in the server, even though it might have sounded a little bit different in the interview. So definitely changed his tune and showed the PGG are a top-class team, and they can bounce back at any given moment, even with a couple of hiccups into their road to glory. I guess we'll see where they end up at the end of the season, but this is what we wanted to see from them, a convincing W. Direwolves, they had a couple of opportunities here and there, but unfortunately, PGG just outclassed them in pretty much every sense of the word. Belkan just absolutely popping off in the jungle from the get-go. I just love the amount of times I looked up at the screen and he's just walking in, right-clicking the opponent, and that's it. Like, closing gap with flag and drag, but other than that, it was just being an absolute nuisance, a cretin. And Direwolves, they couldn't do anything about it, Rusty.
No, there wasn't really a thing that they could do. It started so early, and then just happened so consistently that, like, Zoranus, right, gets ganked super early, gets cheesed as he goes toward the bush. The timing was just a little bit off from the Graves top lane.
Yeah.
Guess what? He's coming back top lane. Nightmare, absolute misery up there for the Graves. That then moves into the jungle, and try as they might, they just could not deal with this absolute terror running them down. And the funny thing about this game is, like, even this play, you see the mid inhibitor, you're like, well, here's a bot wave they prepared earlier. Let's just go down bot lane. Let's, clean out tutorial style. And then Rogue and Belkan just put their two brain cells together and say, fight at all costs, and they find the angle. Jinx, no flash. Why would we push when we can just engage and make it work? And that's what they do.
I love it. I love how you said two brain cells between the two of them. That's an interesting one, considering they're probably some of the better players in the league. Of course, it's just
I gave them one extra.
Savage. Rusty, what have you eaten for dinner tonight, mate?
I haven't eaten, that's the issue.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So he's hangry.
I'll be back. Game 3, you'll have regular Rusty, don't worry.
I'm liking Savage Rusty, it's spicy.
It's a good time. Well, it was a great time for PGG as well. Having a look at the stats. What's that? 15k gold lead. It was right as rain. Only lost 2 objectives, and there was no soul. There was a little bit of action around the Drake, but not too much. Every time Direwolves tried to make something happen, it just didn't go as planned. It seemed like some of the pieces of the puzzle were just not quite there. Different pieces getting picked up and positioning not quite on point today. But they showed a couple of good signs, and that's what we're looking for. With Direwolves, of course, you'd call it still a development team, picking up a lot of rookies from last split, but also led by Kiyose in the middle. And it feels like there's some glory to be found throughout the split, but PGG, when they're playing their A game, which they were today, they're unstoppable.
Yeah, it just felt like to me, which we said I think a few times over the years, haven't we, Rusty, about like, you know, when a team who's meant to be a favourite loses, the next game is going to be angry gaming.
Angry gaming, yeah.
And you're just so terrified for the next opponent because they're not going to take you lightly. There could be a way in which you look at the, you know, the glass as being half empty and going, oh, there's an avenue for you to attack, but they're like, nah, the glass is half full. We're angry. We're much better than this. We're going to play a lot of these champions that we're so proficient on. Predif, I mean, you think of Predif, he is a Philios. That is his champion. And yeah, he gave us a performance to say pretty much why.
Well, someone that loves and always sees life as a full glass is Kitty. So let's bring her back into the conversation. Kitty, did you enjoy that game? Did you enjoy PGG with that great performance after yesterday?
Well, I did not expect Praetor to perform that well after his interview. I swear he's just an act of deception for the enemy, so the enemy don't expect, you know, the Praetor Penta. But on the side, I did grab the King of Deception, Praetor, waiting on the side. Let's get into it. Hello, Praetor. Congrats on the first Penta of the split. So, when you dropped the F-bomb, I already knew Praetor was unleashed for tonight's game. And let's talk about draft. So you guys drafted Jarvan, Gragas, Corki topside. It was a full tank Gragas, and Jarvan is known for being a facilitator. Was the game plan from the start just play for Praetor? He's on Aphelios.
Yeah, that's basically the game plan for this game. Obviously, not many teams will give me this champ, so respect to Divals for doing it. But I think you see what happens if you give me this champ. So I assume I probably won't be allowed this champ first of the season.
You hear that, guys? Don't give Praetor Aphelios or else he'll actually carry. So, when Balkan stole your first Quadra at Blue Buff, how do you feel? And you, did you get the penta at the end? You did not get the penta, I believe. Sorry.
Nah, I didn't.
Wait, I take back my congratulations. You did not get the penta, but how did you feel at Blue Buff?
I thought you were just teasing me. It's whatever. I didn't really remember that blue buff fight. That game was a blur. That game was just a lot of fighting. I remember I had like 2 deaths and I had like 5 items and I pressed tab and like LeBlanc has a void staff. He's rocking like 6 minions a minute and then he just one-shots me with his void staff and his 2 items and he's literally like 0-3 and he just one-shots me. I'm like, yeah, this game's really bad. But so that upset me a bit. But that's like the only thing I remember, that in the last fight. So, I don't know.
I guess something else you don't remember is giving away a 1k shot down to Zoranus, but that's okay because you guys did win in the end. But is this going to be the start of PGG's win streak?
It's a 1k shutdown and the Grump, more importantly, that I'm upset about. But I don't know, it's kind of hard to have win streaks with a team so like volatile as ours. So I think like I know that like in a best of 5, like we're probably just gonna like we can drop a game, that's all good. But in the best of 1 format, it's a bit sketchy, right? So maybe we don't go undefeated for the rest of the split. Maybe we do. I don't think any team like really comes close to us. To be honest, I know I said in the other interview that we're just a top 8 team, but we're definitely like the best team. So I wouldn't be surprised if we go undefeated for the rest of the split, to be honest.
And just because it's Chinese New Year's today, I have a pop quiz ready for each post-game interview, and you will be the first person to be asked. So, Praetor, 2022 is the year of the...
Goose. I researched this stuff last night, yeah. It's that long neck goose. I love that thing. So Chinese New Year.
You know what? We'll take that. But for people who don't know, like Praetor, it is the year of the tiger. So congrats on the win again, and hope you have a good Chinese New Year. Bye, Praetor.
Thank you. Bye.
He was so close.
I love,
He was so
the
close.
confidence. I love the confidence. Yes, you're the goose, mate. Like,
Never doubted it.
Yeah, that long neck thing. Yeah, it's like, yeah. Well, it was the tiger, but look, at least you were confident with that one. So great to hear him. Much happier after that win, although he was pretty happy in the pre-game as well. But of course, he did a very, very good job through that match. Unfortunately, it wasn't good enough to get player of the game because that, of course, was stolen by the big man in the jungle, running around and set him up for success nice and early in the game. 11-2-16 for Bolkan, Skimmy.
yeah, this guy was an absolute menace, wasn't he? Pure beast mode. You play a champion that wants to be a menace in those first few minutes. Certainly did it. Made Menace's life an absolute nightmare. He was diving turrets. Quite honestly, as Rossi said, probably diving inhibitors at the 10-minute mark. He was unleashed and said, look, there is a lot of hype around me, and this is what it looks like. There is a gap. I am the early game king, and I'm going to prove it. So, yeah, very, very well deserved.
Very well deserved indeed. Now, it's good to see that Pentanet is still holding their spot as a top 8 team for the moment. But, of course, we've got to jump on to match number 2 for the day. To get there, we've got to go to a break. So let's jump into it. It's Kanga and the Chiefs going head-to-head straight after this.
He jumps on in, but there's a two-man knockup. There's the Moonlight Vigil that instantly gets the Quadra! That's the first Quadra kill of this year! Where did that come from? 200 years!
Praetors wants the Penta so desperately. He's popped the sad B, Kyosei. Gives him the thumb up and he's going to distort away. He's going to play him for a